Chapter 15 of Just for Juniors, Little Talks to Little Folks by Rev. Gerald T. Brennan. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. Chapter 15. That's My Boss. Most people like the sea. They like to travel on the ocean. They like to board a great ship and sail away to strange lands. I've done it several times, and I hope to do it again soon. I hope, too, that some day you will be able to take a trip on the ocean. I know that it will be something that you will never forget. Sailors, you know, live on the sea. They work on the sea. They are sailors because they like to travel. Now, do you know that some priests live on the sea, too? Yes, that's true. Why, there are any number of priests who have spent years on the sea. Of course, these priests don't live on the sea just because it's fun. Oh, no! These priests work on the sea. The sea is their parish. And these priests bring Christ to the sailors who ride the ships. These priests are known as chaplains, and they teach the sailors about God. They say Mass for the sailors, hear the confessions, and give them Holy Communion. Yes, the chaplains do the very same things for the sailors that we priests do for the people in the parish. Well, Father McCarthy was a sea chaplain for 13 years. That's a long time to spend on the ocean. But Father McCarthy loved his work. He loved his sailors. Every morning the priest said Mass for his sailors, and every Saturday he heard their confessions. He was a kind priest, a helpful priest, a priest who wanted his sailors to be the best sailors on the sea. He wanted his boys to work hard and have fun. Above all, he wanted his boys to be good. He wanted his boys to love God. One night after supper, Father McCarthy made his usual visits to the different parts of the ship. First, he went down to the ship's hospital and visited the sailors who were sick. Then he stopped at the game room and watched some of the sailors wrestle and box. He talked with boys who were lonesome and tried to cheer them. And for a short time he visited with some of the officers. Finally, Father McCarthy decided to go up on the top deck of the ship, where he thought it would be quiet. When the priest reached the top of the stairs, he heard some loud talking. Some of the boys were arguing. Father McCarthy heard one of the sailors swear, and he heard another boy take the name of Jesus in vain. Then he heard all the boys talk and argue at the same time. They cursed, they swore, they abused God's name. That was too much for Father McCarthy. The priest hurried toward the sailors and raised his hand. "Stop!" he called out in a loud voice. "Don't talk like that. Don't you know that you are abusing God's name? That's my boss, and you can't talk like that about him." Well, the sailors stopped their cursing and swearing immediately. Not a boy dared to answer the priest. Instead, they walked away in silence and shame. Each boy knew that he had hurt God. Each boy knew that he had hurt the priest. Children, God is everyone's boss. He is your boss, and He is my boss. We belong to God because He made us. God is our Father, and we are His children. Don't forget all the fine things God has done for us. Why, He came down to earth so that He could be near us. He lived for us, suffered for us, died for us. He gave us Himself in the Holy Eucharist. He made it easy for us to get to heaven. Yes, God did many wonderful things for you and me. He did all these things because He loves us. Never once did God do anything to hurt us. Why, then, should we hurt God by our bad language? Shouldn't we love God as much as He loves us? Certainly we should, and we should speak His name with love. When we curse or swear, we are talking about our best friend. Is that the way to speak about our best friend? No! Remember, the name of Jesus came from heaven. Mary or Joseph didn't choose that name. It was chosen by God. So that name is very sacred. It is something very holy. When you speak that name, you should speak it with love. You should speak it as though you were saying a prayer, because the name of Jesus is really a prayer. Some children are just like the sailors in my story. When they argue or become angry, immediately they start to abuse God. They swear and curse and use the name of Jesus in vain. That's wrong, and that's a sin against the second commandment. It's a bad habit, children, a sinful habit, a habit that should be corrected. You wouldn't abuse the name of your father or mother. Oh, no! You love your father and mother too much to take their name in vain. Why, then, should you take the name of Jesus in vain? Remember, Jesus is your boss. Jesus is your master. Jesus is your God. Speak His name only as a prayer. Speak the name of Jesus with love. Remember, too, that God hears every word you speak. Don't let God hear you talking about Him. Don't hurt God by swearing or cursing. Be careful when you are playing with your friends. Even though you can't see God, He is with you, and God is always listening. Keep your speech clean. End of chapter 15.